Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Long time no see. I know. Wait, I think this is the third video in a row for me. So yay! Maybe, hopefully. Oh god. Anyway, today is the day, friends. Today it is happening. Do you know what that is? I've just downed a cup of cocoa, and so I also just recorded the What to Expect FEH channel for April. Guess what? Now is the time that we're finally going to talk about Fallen Heroes. I know. So exciting. Whether it's April or May, probably May, people are expecting this banner and they love it. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, people go... There's a whole stage of FEH in the winter where they go through, they get Choose Your Legends hype in August, and then there's a bunch of cool seasonals that happen, and then of course there's winter in the end of the current book that's happening in like October, November, and then the new book is starting, and everybody's all hyped, and then New Year's happens, and then Choose Your Legend voting happens again, and so everybody's excited about that. And then, Fallen Heroes. That's it. That's all y'all want to talk about. And then, I guess it all starts after Fallen Heroes. It's just Choose Your Legends hype again. Well, I guess summer's in there. You guys get excited about summer, right? Right? Everybody loves fan service, I suppose. But all that aside, y'all are nutty. Y'all are little... blueberry berserkers for these Fallen Heroes. And the Fallen banner in the past has been anywhere literally from February to May, with May basically being in the more recent months. So that's what I'm assuming we'll see. It's likely going to be happening in May. Ooh, look at that Patrine though. Dang. Oh, who built that, I wonder? Me. Well, I mean, it's my account, so of course I built her. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Fallen Heroes today, and I'm not going to make a prediction video because, frankly, I have retired from that, right? So I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to do that, but I am going to give you my thoughts on who I think might make good Fallen Hero representations. You'll see some old favorites, maybe. You'll see some things you didn't maybe consider thinking about, and maybe a surprising one or two. So let's crack on into it. It should be going without saying that there's going to be spoilers. Okay, so look, if you don't want anything from, hold on, Sacred Stones, Shadows of Valentia, Fire Emblem Fates, Fire Emblem Heroes, I'm assuming you are up to date on that. I'm assuming you read through book 3. I'm hoping that you went through book 3 already. Path of Radiant Dawn. Radiant Dawn? Maybe Path of Radiance? I don't remember. Tellius in general. Kind of Awakening? And then also Three Houses. So, basically just not Genealogy, Thracia, or Elebe. Yep, that's it. Everything else is on the table, alright? You have officially been warned. So, first off, let's talk about some guy named Orson from Sacred Stones. Orson basically, for lack of better phrasing, betrayed Erica and Ephraim. I think that, without diving too much into story, I think that kind of generally sums it up. And he had a wife. And his wife died. And so, eventually, he wanted his wife brought back to life. Like you do. And, basically, she was. And that's more or less how he was controlled. He eventually kind of goes mad, completely changes his personality, and eventually dies. That's the story of Orson. Oh, also he's playable for a bit, but that's beside the point. I think Orson kind of going under this Fallen persona Not necessarily like actually dying and coming back or something. Not necessarily a type of possession, but a sense of... Yes? Can I help you? Okay, well, I guess we'll just do that. Sure. Okay. Anyway. Never mind. I think that kind of mentality symbolizes at least what a fallen hero could be. And Orson's kind of an interesting character, too. Maybe a little one-dimensional, we'll say, with his motives. But beyond that, kind of interesting. And he's also, like I said, a playable character who eventually betrays you. And I don't think there's a whole lot of those in Fire Emblem. So that's kind of interesting, right? Next up, because there's 8 of these that we're going to go through. Next up is Sonya. And I have talked about Sonya in the past. The interesting thing about Sonya from Shadows of Valentia, if you don't know, she has 2 sisters. Those 2 sisters went on to become witches. Also, she's the daughter of a certain someone. We won't spoil that. But basically, Sonya is this great mage, and at the end of the game, it's shown in her after battle life that she goes on this kind of ingredient gathering journey, knowledge gathering journey to try and undo the witch's curse that, you know, the witches fall under Duma's control. But it's basically said that, you know, she ends up becoming a witch while trying to find a way to undo it. And in fact, it even kind of insinuates or outright says, I can't remember right now, but basically that she becomes a witch within the halls of Nui Baba, which, if you've played Shadows of Valentia, you know that's a bad time. So, yeah, I think Witch Sonya could be kind of interesting, and she's also got 2 sisters in the mix as well. So there could be kind of like this trio duo thing going on, kind of like how we had Kid Pala and the Kid White Wings. There could be something like that, I guess. But it's pretty much canon that that's what happens to her, and it kind of bums me out. It makes me like Sonya more, because I want to save her from that. I can't, because it's forever written like that, no matter what I do. So I think Fallen Sonya is probably another kind of one that people maybe expect. An additional one that people might be expecting is Gunter. Gunter. That guy from Fire Emblem Fates. Or also that guy from Fire Emblem Heroes who is maybe in need of an art refresh. Possibly. One of the few axe calves in the game. I'll give him that, right? That's worth something. Basically, he gets possessed by the main antagonist of the game. That's the whole thing. So we have a case of possession, essentially, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Definitely fits within the Fallen persona of what stuff has been in the past. So definitely not out of the realm of possibility, right? But Gunter is definitely one of those who... I don't know. If he showed up, I think we'd have a pretty bright world into the sight of Anankos showing up in Fae at some point. So part of me just kind of wants that to happen for that reason. But like I said, Gunter, probably a pretty easy pick. Another easy pick. We'll just knock out the easy ones first, and then we'll start talking about the real ones, shall we? So, Gustav. Do I need to explain? Just go read a synopsis of Book 3 of Fire Emblem Heroes, and then you'll pretty much have everything you need to know about why Gustav would be a fallen hero. What else? Greil? Greil is one. For sure, Greil is one. There's a reason why he has an axe instead of a sword now. I won't ruin that, because I think everyone should be able to experience Tellius as untainted to the story as possible, because there's a lot of meaty little lore bits that happen in Tellius games. So I won't ruin that for you. But let's just say there's a certain medallion, and there's a reason he doesn't have a sword anymore and he uses an axe. We'll leave it at that. Someone you might not expect, and we're coming up. We're coming up on the 3 that I might be most excited for, kind of. So there's a cipher interpretation. You know it's going to get good when I start, but there was a cipher interpretation at one point of Risen King Chrom. And this is what a lot of people point to when they're like, dude, Fallen Chrom. Hell yes. And I'm intentionally not going to put up his just stock art for this. I'm intentionally going to use... Because there are alternative arts that I could use, but I feel like we intentionally need to show Risen King Chrom here. It's Risen King Chrom. Like, what else do you need? What else do you need to know? There was a lot of speculation as to whether or not the Chrom in Tokyo Mirage Sessions was, like, tied to this kind of Chrom alternate universe type thing. I don't know if there's any validity to that or if anything was ever proven right or wrong about it, but just something cool, I think, that could happen. And literally that's it. There's not really any of the backstory other than Chrom met with a terrible fate, and then you have Risen King Chrom now. So, Fallen Chrom. Renning. Bruh. Let me tell you a little something about Renning. Or Bertram from Fire Emblem... Well, Tellius. I was going to say, technically, I think Radiant Dawn, but also mostly Path of Radiance. So there's this concoction that makes the Laguz go feral. It's made by Azuka, which is why I hate him the most out of any Fire Emblem villain ever. Basically, Renning, which I believe is Alincia's uncle, was given the feral concoction, and that turned Renning into Bertram, and he became one of the riders. So, pretty much as fallen as you can get, right? Think Greil without the medallion. That's pretty much how I would explain it. But that's probably a pretty big spoiler. Oops. But I warned you. I already warned you as much as I could. So Renning, I think he's a pretty good candidate. We've already seen some Alincia love, so a little more can't hurt, right? Get my boy Renning in the game, Faye. Do it. He's probably a pretty good candidate. Probably not one that a lot of people think of, just because they either haven't played Tellius or they just don't. They're not really that familiar with the character. He's not a Greil merc, right? I feel like everybody on Alincia's kind of squad gets overlooked most of the time, just because it's Alincia's squad. Like, nobody pays attention to that group. Oh boy, someday, Joffrey. Someday, Lucia. Someday, y'all will be all make it into the game, I swear. And then I would be remiss if, of course, my 8th and final vote, because it's just the most KCB thing ever, Rhea. So I don't know if you're familiar with this game called Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's pretty popular. It's sold pretty well. Pretty recent Fire Emblem entry. Here's the thing about Rhea that you need to know. She's the Immaculate One, which we kind of already know because Saros is in the game, right? Well, at the end of certain routes, Rhea turns into the Immaculate One and gets a little ragey. But, like, not in a good way, like an Alzheimer-y kind of way, where she's not really in control of her memories and is just kind of confused by things. And that's very tragic, which honestly makes me like her character more. That's part, like, she's such a tragic character, and she's such a flawed character. And I think that's the reason I like her as much as I do, just because she's such an imperfect being. Sorry, didn't mean to get too overly, yeah. But anyway, Fallen Rhea is a thing, because frankly, when the Immaculate One takes over, and she kind of just loses her sense, you have to, how shall we say, end the dragon. Which I'm sure a lot of you know, based on the routes that you have probably played. So, Fallen Rhea, probably a pretty good chance that that's going to happen. And wouldn't it just be the craziest thing ever if we had 2 Rheas in the game, both Seiros and Fallen Rhea, but not actual Rhea? Seems like something that IS would do to me, to be perfectly honest with you all. So yeah, those are my picks. Those are my picks for Fallen Heroes this year. Obviously, there's a lot more than 4. A lot more than 4, obviously. But just some that I hope that I might see at some point. Maybe even next year, too. There's enough for 2 banners here. It could happen. Who knows? But those are my picks. Those are some that I think we might see, some that I hope we might see, some that we probably will never see. Because that's just how it goes, man. Then in the comments, let me know who you might want to see on this year's Fallen banner, which again will probably be happening in a couple weeks from now. I don't expect it to be the new Heroes banner for April. Probably going to be in May. So we got a little bit of time. So share your thoughts. Let me know. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for liking, clicking bell, all of the things that you do that help me grow and continue to do stuff like this. I appreciate it. Thank you again for watching. Until then, I will catch you next time.